They call him Britain's most dangerous prisoner. A man so feared that the UK built a special underground glass cell just for him, one that later inspired Hannibal Lecter's cage in The Silence of the Lambs. His name is Robert Maudsley, and after nearly 50 years behind bars, 46 of them in solitary, his story has become one of the darkest chapters in British criminal history. Robert Maudsley never had a normal childhood. He was born into crushing poverty in Liverpool, one of 12 children. His parents struggled to care for him and his siblings, so Robert and 3 of his brothers and sisters were sent to a children's home run by nuns. Compared to what awaited him later, that home was a place of safety. At the age of 8, his parents took him back, and the nightmare began. The beatings were relentless. His father used belts, sticks, and anything he could grab, while his mother encouraged the abuse with insults and cruelty. Robert later recalled being locked in a room for 6 months, only allowed to eat when food was thrown to him, beaten 4 to 6 times a day. These early experiences with confinement left him terrified of closed spaces for the rest of his life. After social services intervened, Robert was moved from one abusive foster home to another. His father even told the other children that Robert was dead. By the age of 16, Robert was on the streets of London, alone, addicted to drugs, homeless, and hearing violent voices in his head. To survive, he became a rent boy, and that is how he met John Farrell, a man who later tried to shock him with photographs of abused children. Robert snapped and strangled Farrell with a necktie. Declared mentally unfit, he was sent to Broadmoor, a psychiatric hospital for violent offenders. For a while, treatment seemed to help, but Robert's hatred for men who abused children, men who reminded him of his own father, grew into an obsession. In 1977, he and another patient lured an inmate named David Francis into a storage room. For 9 hours, staff tried to break in as Francis screamed for help. When the door was finally opened, Francis lay dead, his skull described as cracked like a boiled egg. Robert had warned the judge years earlier that if he were sent to Broadmoor, he would kill again. In court, he reminded them of that warning, almost daring the system to punish him. After being convicted of manslaughter, Robert was sent to Wakefield Prison, known as the Monster Mansion, because it housed some of Britain's most dangerous criminals. He didn't last a year before killing again. He had planned to murder 7 inmates, all convicted abusers. 2 accepted his invitation for a chat, and both were killed. When no one else approached him, he calmly went to the guards and told them that the wing would be 2 prisoners short at roll call. The tabloids soon nicknamed him Hannibal the Cannibal, even though he never ate any part of his victims. The authorities considered him uncontrollable. Their solution was unprecedented. A special cell built just for him, deep beneath Wakefield Prison. Officers had to pass through 17 locked doors to reach it. Inside, he had a barred outer cage, and inside that, a bulletproof glass cell. His furniture was made of cardboard. His bed was a concrete slab, and he was under constant surveillance. He had no books, no TV, no music, and officers were forbidden to speak to him. Robert called it a living tomb. He begged for small comforts, classical music, photos, toiletries, even a pet bird, but all requests were denied. If not, he wrote, give me cyanide. Over the decades, Robert became the longest-serving solitary prisoner in the world, surpassing even Albert Woodfox's record in Louisiana. He requested assisted death multiple times, but each request was denied. Years later, the system softened. He was allowed books, music, a TV, and even a PlayStation. Officers began speaking to him, playing chess and dis. Then, in 2023, an operational lockdown stripped all of it away. His belongings were removed, and unlike other prisoners, his privileges never returned. He stopped eating. Instead of restoring what had been taken, the prison moved him to HMP Whitemoor, where he now spends 23 hours a day alone, with no TV, no books, and surrounded by offenders similar to those he had once killed. He has even begged to return to his glass cell at Wakefield because life there had been better. Robert Maudsley will never walk free. He is serving a whole life sentence, alongside Britain's most dangerous serial killers, the very people he once targeted. He is 72 years old, completely isolated, and perhaps the most feared prisoner in the UK. After nearly half a century in silence, one question remains. Did the system create the monster it now condemns?